Welcome to the Jessica Broadway Show, where we talk about everything from motherhood to marriage, faith to our finances, and the ever changing face of entrepreneurship. Why? Because life is now in session and there's a lot to talk about. My hope is that our time here together, you'll get some encouragement and endurance for the journey you're on and the story that you're writing with your life. Today, I'm going to do a demonstration for you. So if you're listening to this audio, I want to encourage you to, maybe pop over to YouTube so you can see this, but I'm going to do my best to walk you through kind of this illustration. So today I had the opportunity of going to career day at our school, and I had to explain to a bunch of third and fourth graders what it is that I do. So that can be hard because I do one thing, but I do it in a variety of different ways. I've talked on this podcast before about my role as an integrative growth and grief specialist, and that I help people integrate areas of their life instead of exiling these past. And I work to help them create their new future. And all of these things, they are what I do. And to adults, they may have some concept of that, but for kids, these are difficult things. And so they don't know what an integration is at this point in their life. They don't even know really what grief is, but they do know, they don't know the technical or clinical names, but they know the feeling. And so I had to put my creative hat on, and I do this in live workshops. So people that have been in workshops with me before, they would know this exercise. But I got to demonstrate it for the kids. So how I started out is I have this backpack, and it says on the front, never stop exploring. And I told the kids, so I said, all right, kids, everybody is given a backpack when they're born. It's invisible and you'll wear it. And at first it's going to feel really light. There's not going to be anything in your backpack, but this is where we store experiences, good, bad, but this is where we store our memories. And sometimes we don't always get to pick the ones that go in there. They just go in the backpack. So anybody remember holidays, your favorite holiday? And I have some tinsel that I shove in their backpack for them. And then I have this huge rock. It's quite heavy. And I was like, you remember playing outside and having adventures? And they say, yes, yes, yes. They're excited. And I put that in the bag. And it's starting to get a little heavy now. And then I have this broken piece of furniture. And I say, have you ever broken something that you felt bad about? You remember the first time you ever broke something or had your feelings hurt? Yep, those get put in the backpack too. And then I have a present that's wrapped, and I tell them about a time where they'd really hoped for something, and they unwrapped the present only to realize it wasn't quite what they expected. Those memories get put in the backpack too. And then the backpack's starting to get heavy, but you just have to wear it. Like, you don't really know what to do with the stuff in there. You just kind of figure you're going to wear it all of your life. And then I hand them this bucket of feelings. So I have a box of emoji squishy balls that have all different kinds of feelings. And some of them have weird faces and they don't always understand them. Some of them are pain. And I tell them, I'm like, okay, so now hold your feelings in this bucket as well. And then I start handing them life, okay? I start handing them all different experiences for life. I say, okay, now you have a home and you're going to have to mow your grass, and you're an adult now, and you're going to have to make sure you have nice house plants, and piling that up. And their little arms start getting really full. They're holding a box of emotions, their lifestyle things. And oh man, you did so good at work. You're going to get a trophy. And that's going good for you. And then hey, don't forget to make sure that you're comparing yourself to others. And I hold up a mirror and I let them look at themselves and look at their friends and look back at themselves. So they have to pile that up. And then things are starting to get really, really, really heavy for them. And you can see them starting to buckle under the pressure. And then I say, hey, don't forget you need money to pay your bills. And I hand them a stack of money and I put that on the top. And then the money starts to kind of slide over the top, and they start worrying about keeping control of the money, and they start stressing out a little bit. You can see the tension on their faces. And then I hand them, I have a little workout dumbbell in here, and I hand them that, and I say, now don't, make sure you take care of your fitness and take care of your health. And I pile that on top of them. And I hand them their water. I'm going to make sure you drink enough water. And then when their hands are just full enough, I hold out a present. See on the side of this bag, it is decorated, a cute little decorated bag, and it says blessings on the side. And I hand that out and I say, hey, would you like some blessings? Would you like some good things? Something you've wished for, an opportunity? And they can't reach out and take the bag. And the frustration on their face, the problem solving, they're trying to figure it out in their minds, how they can hold on to all the stuff and still receive the bag of blessings. And they finally will look at me and just say, I can't do it. And then I tell them, and when you have a stack of problems, you don't know what to do, you feel conflicted in life, and there's a lot of things you don't know what to do with, someone like me comes along and I help you put down the weights, sort through the money things, the things you wish you had that you don't have, the things you wish were better, more, or different in your life, the chores, the responsibilities, the success. We put it all down. We put the feelings down. We take them out. We look at them. We say, hey, let me set these feelings down for a while. And we start unpacking the backpacks of our lives. And together, we solve problems. We come up with strategies. We process all those feelings you don't know what to do with, and we start building a life by design instead of default. We start intentionally picking up what's valuable to us, what lets us stay in the present and not jerking us back to the past all the time. And you can see the shift on their faces. They feel hopeful. They feel excited. They are ready to do the work. Because if we don't learn how to manage the stresses in our lives, if we don't learn how to process the things we don't know what to do with, it starts to become cumulative. It's not just the feelings that we're struggling with. It's the feelings and having to mow the grass on Saturday. It's the award that you got one day, and now you feel like you have to live up to an impossible standard. It's the never being fit enough and also trying to be a good mom. It's the struggling with your finances and feeling like there's nothing that you can do, or not feeling like you deserve the money that you have, and the scarcity mindset, the old patterns of money problems that are baked into how you see money and what's possible for you. It's all these things that become cumulative, and they start sounding like I'm stuck. And then as we're wrapping up our time together, I hand them a piece of paper. And I say, let's see if I can get it. I ask them to draw me a picture of a smiley face, but I hand them a hammer. And they look at me like I have, two heads. And I was like, what's wrong? Can't you do this work with a hammer? And they say, no, you can't draw a smiley face with a hammer. I'm like, well, you just need to try hard enough. You're just not trying hard enough. I'm sure if you tried harder. Because is there anything wrong with a hammer? They always say, no, there's nothing wrong with a hammer. I was like, well, what do you use a hammer for? To hammer things. So there's nothing wrong with the tool, but you're trying to use the wrong tool to solve a problem. So it doesn't really matter how hard you try if you don't have the right tools in your toolbox. It's not you that's the problem. It's not the tools that's the problem. It's how you're trying to apply the tools that you have. And I'll give them some other things, like I'll hand them a paintbrush or something, and they laugh and they say, oh, you can't draw a smiley face with a paintbrush. And eventually I hand them the pen or the marker. And I say, okay, now draw me a smiley face. And the process of this illustration is that you can have good tools things you use for other things, and you can be using the wrong tool to get the result that you want. And if the tools aren't working and you're trying really hard, maybe it's not you, maybe it's not the tools, maybe it's that you haven't picked up the right tools for the season of life you're in. And so I love doing these visuals because I think that they give people that tangible, hands-on understanding of how, even if they don't have the word for grief, they don't have the words for loss, they don't understand those technical terms, they understand the pressure. Loss doesn't always have to be bad. Sometimes, like I said, it can be success. You can get successful. You can get a recognition, or you can be doing a job well and then set a new standard for yourself, an impossible standard that you could duplicate that every single time. Maybe it's fitness goals. Maybe it's things you wish in your life were better, more, or different, and you're not really sure how you got here. You just know that you're very much here and you very much feel overwhelmed with life. I would suggest that working with me or doing some work to unpack all of that stuff, the junk that is holding you back, the things that you keep trying to fix that aren't getting fixed. I would say somewhere in there lies some unresolved grief, some unrecognized and unprocessed loss. And teaming up together, we can certainly do that. And I hope that as we go through this podcast together and you follow me on social media, you get to see things, I'll be able to give you some of those tools. But at the very minimum, I've found that awareness is a huge key in helping people reconcile what they wish was better, more, or different, and actually taking the actions towards resolving that or doing something different. Sometimes it isn't that you don't know what to do. It's you didn't know what you didn't know. So there's two ways that things hold us back. There's knowledge gaps and there's belief gaps. And the knowledge gaps, just like, oh, I didn't know it was grief. Got it. Now that I've learned about grief, I can see that, and I can take the steps I need. I can learn the information I need, and I can resolve that. And then other times it's like, doesn't matter how much you know until you change the belief systems that you have, the things that are hardwired in you, until you rewrite those and you undo some things, you heal some pieces of you challenge yourself to think in a new way. It won't be until you dismantle your belief system and examine that you'll get the breakthrough. No amount of knowledge can undo patterns that we are stuck to, that we're doing subconsciously. The human brain processes over 100,000 thoughts a day, and it's estimated that about 73,000 of those are presumably negative. So even if you had like all the knowledge in the world, right, and like you were consuming content, positivity, and affirmations, and you were so disciplined that you could say 500 affirmations a day, you wouldn't even put a dent in the 73,000 negatively impacting thoughts that you have. And I thought I was a pretty positive person, but I wasn't counting all the times I told myself silently that I should have been doing this, or should be this, or how could you do that, or man, you really need to get over that. Those are negative thoughts too. And the silent shaming that we do to ourselves, to each other, is adding to that. So in order to receive the blessings, you have to put down some of the junk. You have to clear space. You have to get stuff out. You can't just pile good stuff or positive things on top of them to outweigh them, to replace them. You have to let go of them. You have to release them first so that you can receive the blessing, so you can receive the goodness and put the goodness there in its place. The thing is that we are not all positive and we're not all negative, but we're the messy middle of and trying to exile the negative parts of us or the sad parts of us. It doesn't do us any good. It doesn't make us any more positive. It just makes us really tired trying to pretend like everything's okay. So it's, as they say, it's okay to not be okay. I hope that you found a little nugget in this for you. I hope that you learned something today, that you were inspired to look at your life. If you felt like, hey, I really resonated with this, would you just leave me a comment, or let's continue the conversation? But I wanted to share the visual with you guys, and hopefully listening to it, you were able to follow along. But again, I encourage you to go check out that YouTube video, and that's what our lives are like. This is the work I do. I wrapped it up with telling the kids, sometimes I get to do this from a stage for lots of people, and sometimes I get to do it working one-on-one with people. But one of my favorite ways to do it is through writing, because that, it transcends time and space. I can send a book and 5 people can read a book at once. I can't necessarily work with 5 people in a room at once. So, your purpose isn't what you do, it's the message, it's who you are, and trying to be more of that in the world. Finding new ways to share the purpose of being you and bridging the gap that you were meant to bridge in the world. I know that there's a lot of you out there that have hopes and dreams and expectations, and somewhere along the way, maybe you lost some of those. Maybe you felt like you've been in crisis mode for so long that you forgot how to be creative. You forgot how to dream. Incidentally, one of the first things to go when you're grieving is your creative problem solving and your creativity. Next is your clarity. So you have brain fog, fatigue, things like that. And man, I love this work. I love getting people to have clarity and getting them to see life from a different lens, and to equip them with the tools that they need to navigate life and their journey, and to write the best story that they can with the tools that they were given and the experiences they were given in life. So whether you're listening in the car, folding your laundry, on a walk, hanging out with your friends, until next time, love your people, live your purpose, and don't stop creating possibilities, because life is now in session.